So not at all intimidating, not in the slightest. Very easy and comfortable. Just a personal chit-chat, right?
Absolutely. So first of all, thank you so much for being with us this evening. As I mentioned, it's a gathering for entrepreneurs, people with their own businesses, financiers, people wanting to learn new businesses. And what I'd like to discuss with you today is your sense of new business opportunities. I don't need to introduce Katrina. You all know she's a mega star. I think you've done films with every big actor, pretty much, now. Amazing.
Well, I think I'm just happy that I've been here now. You know, someone pointed out I think it was on your questionnaire that you had the year that I apparently started in the industry. So I took a moment and I said, wow. No, I don't think so. But yeah, it's been a while. It's been a while, and I think time flies when you're having fun, and that's really what I've been having, a lot of fun.
So to kick off, the entertainment industry is seeing a lot of transformation in terms of people went to theaters, and that was pretty much it at one time. Celebrities were there even then, but I think the entire canvas has changed in terms of the opportunities that are available now. And platforms like Netflix, Amazon has also transformed the way things are. Do you still see technology coming in more and more to give opportunities for other ways to exploit the entertainment opportunity?
Well, I think, like you said, I mean, the face of the film industry, I feel, has changed so much. Forget, like, if we go 5 years back, but just if we go in the last year and a half, it's just the whole game has changed, if you ask me, as an actor, as an actress in the industry who's been working for some years now. With these platforms coming in, like with Netflix, as you said, like with Amazon, like with Jio, like with Hotstar, when you have these digital streaming platforms coming in, it allows you so much more freedom, the directors, the audiences, with what one can explore. There's a few reasons for that, I feel. Main one being that you don't have the immediate Friday or Monday judgment of the box office success, so you don't really have that extreme pressure over your head. You know, I really want to do this, it's an interesting subject, it's a little different, but I don't know if it's going to appeal to a large audience. So with the influx of these platforms that have now, you know, started coming in, it's really, I personally just feel really excited about it because I think it's going to open up so much for different voices, different kind of films. And you know, sometimes there are films and different content which doesn't need to be, you know, put out there in the cinema. It's right to watch at home. It's right to watch on your, you know, your smaller screen or your phone at home. It's just a better way of going about it. So I think that is something which, for me, I'm very excited about. In the last kind of year, I've been kind of working very strongly towards developing content and turning a producer myself. And yeah, it's something that I've been working on. And with these platforms, you yourself can now see, okay, you know, maybe this is something we want to develop. And you automatically have that sense, okay, this would be interesting for maybe a TV show. This would be interesting maybe in this, you know, no, this should be a movie. So having that option, I think, is something which is really opened up and changed a lot of things.
So, you know, you are up there, but there are many people who are still struggling to reach anywhere near where you are. Do you see them having much more opportunity now because of the various platforms, technology, technicians, support, all of them have an opportunity? Because I now see a TV awards for the last few years, which I don't think existed earlier. There could be online awards soon. So how do you see people, I mean, what are the opportunities you feel people have to get into these areas?
I think it's huge. I think now with the way that technology and social media and digital streaming services play such a big part in our life, I think that now the game and the field has opened up so much more for, like you said, people who are starting out. Yeah. See, to be very honest, we've all, although it may look, you know, that one way from the outside, we've all put in that. I think anyone who's, you know, kind of been around for a certain number of time has put in their struggle years. They have put in that groundwork. And even if you have, or you're just starting out, honestly, to be in this industry, to be in this entertainment industry, every day is really like a new struggle. You have to come to work every day like a newcomer. You have to come to work with the same humility, with the same sense of, I'm here to learn, with the same sense of eagerness and brightness as a newcomer. And that's, I mean, it's not an easy industry to be in. It's an industry with a lot of very visible and obvious plus points and benefits, but there are a lot of other things behind it that, you know, I think you know a lot about that goes into that. You have to be really thick-skinned. You have to constantly be willing to put aside, you know, maybe little personal sensitivities or feelings, and just kind of, you have to just have a blind passion, I think, to succeed in this industry.
The will to succeed.
The will to succeed, and if you have the talent and if you have the interest, like there are many directors now who I'm interacting with who have come from the Whistling Woods Film Institute, which is here, which is our own homegrown film institute, and now are coming up with some amazing scripts, some amazing ideas. And I mean, so many of the filmmakers who've even directed successful films in the last year or two, they themselves have started out at Whistling Woods.
Yeah. So professional careers, professional training, being fit, being enthusiastic, all goes into a successful film. I mean, in my opinion, an actor who's enthusiastic while shooting, it actually comes out on the screen as well. That's what I've seen over the years.
I completely believe that. I completely believe that. There has been some films where there's been such a sense of excitement and joy and you know, such a positive energy on the set. And we have kind of gotten away with that. That kind of took the film in its own kind of energy for some films. But there has been also other films, and I think I feel that a little bit more now when in some of the films and some of the work that I've started doing now, that you do have to, I mean, I don't know how many people here, this is more about, you know, entrepreneurship, people starting new companies, startups. So I don't know how many people here are really interested at all in the field of acting. So maybe it's, you know, it's not a...
No, it's not just acting, but I think the entire film industry, or the TV industry, or the entertainment industry. You know, even the shows you do go packed pretty much around the world. Technicians go along with you. It's a whole environment that's put together. In fact, I was surprised, I didn't realize till not long ago, that 1,000+ people can come onto a set for a day and then go off the set, and it's all pretty much organized by the line producer. And that to me is amazing. How do you see Hollywood professionalism coming into India? Because the big studios have come, so you have Fox, you have Disney, you have a couple of others. But the big guilds which you have in Hollywood, to my mind, super specialized, lawyers included, are not really here yet. Do you see that happening more and more, or you think it's still going to take
I don't know about
years?
anyone else in the film industry, but I've got the best lawyer with me. You know, I thought about this. I understand what you're saying, because I did spend about a month meeting a lot of industry people and studios and heads of studios in Los Angeles. So I got a very, very small glimpse of kind of the way it works there. Yes, I agree with you, maybe legally and you know, in certain sort of, you know, documentation, I'm sure they have, you know, quite a bit, they're quite maybe more advanced than we are. But, you know, we have some amazing production houses here. I mean, I've done a lot of work with Yash Raj. There's, you know, it's really professionally handled. There's obviously Dharma. There's so many production houses here that are not even, I'm talking about the Fox Studios and, you know, UTV and Disney later, which came in. I'm talking about our own, you know, Indian production houses that really do fantastic work. I mean, there's nothing there's not been, you know, any day I can tell you that there was not this on set, there was not that on set, oh, this is a mess. We really, I think, we have come a long way in our industry. I think the whole streamlining, the whole way the industry has started to move towards is very, very thorough and professional. I think I mean, just in the years that I've been working, I've seen huge changes, and where we are today is quite, I think it's really, really quite professional.
So you said you're going to go into film production now.
Well, you know, as I think in every career, and I'm sure many of you feel that here, whether you've been in whatever your industry is for a long time, or whether you're maybe starting out on something. I know there's a lot of talk about startups here. It's tough. I mean, as many of you here must be knowing, if you're trying to start some idea, and you feel you have a great idea, or you feel you have a different take on a particular idea, which is why you want to start it yourself, you get plagued with a lot of self-doubt. You know, I have these mornings where I wake up and I'm like, I have this great idea and this great content and this is going to be fantastic and I'm going to, you know, have a very specific voice with what the films I want to produce. And then by the afternoon, you just get this, you know, wave of self-doubt saying, oh, what are you doing? No, it's not going to happen. And I think that's, to me, what I've kind of feel is really the key to success, is not that you're not going to get that fear and self-doubt, it's that you're going to get it, but you have to face it and move past it and keep going. See, the outcome of whatever we do in life is, I don't think, completely in our control. We never know the outcome of something. But I think as long as we put all of our focus and your energy, like for me, that's what I try to start doing, because I have tendencies where like that, you know, I think we all do. We get plagued with self-doubt, or we start doubting ourselves. Don't pay so much attention to that. Just put all your focus on energy and what it is that I can do today constructively to try and build whatever I have in my mind. That's, I mean, kind of the best way that I have figured it out.
And funding, you think it's fairly easy to get funding for films now?
I don't know. I'm going to know that very soon. I might be calling a few of you here. So please take my call. Or maybe I shouldn't have said that, because now they won't be taking my call. It's something that I'm now going to learn a lot about, because although I think I have always been quite conscious of the business side of the film industry, it's not something I've never been, I've not been callous about it. I've always been very concerned and interested to know about budgets, about marketing, about, you know, what's spent on publicity, what's spent on many things. But I think now when you go to actually understand the budgeting of a film project, I will have to pay a little bit, even, you know, investigate a little bit further and understand a little bit more about it.
Well, my sense is a lot of people are keen to get into films, including funding. The risk appetite differs, obviously. The uncertainty as to whether the budget will be adhered to, or it's just a budget for the sake of saying budget and it all goes over budget. And these are practical problems people will obviously anticipate and want to be careful about. But I think hopefully we will see more corporates getting into films on a more informed basis. Business managers, I think, are going to come in more and more to control budgets, audits, etc. So I think...
Sorry, I'm cutting you off. I just have a thought on that, what you said. Like, I know what you're saying, you know, business managers are going to come in to control the audits and be more transparent. And although this is the technical side of it, and of course it's important to succeed in any business, you can't just, you know, be artistic and ignore this. You have to have a firm control, you know, the numbers have to add up. But I do kind of feel one thing, that with people who want to invest into films, for film funds, obviously they're not going to change their profession. They're on this side of the game. But I think the most important thing is to who you're partnering with.
Yes.
It's not like, oh, let me have a stricter control over this, or let me have a stricter line producer or EP who's going to give me the correct feedback. Yeah. I think it's more that, who am I going to partner with this? Yeah. So if today I'm X who wants to invest in films, I would look for someone who I really believe in their vision, in the kind of films they want to produce. I would look for someone who I really trust their intention. Because, yeah, sure, someone wanting to put money into films, that's definitely, you know, looking for a viable proposition. Yeah. But the person making the film needs to have the right voice and needs to have something to say in the films they want to make, and that person you have to tie up with. So it's like a two-way partnership. Yeah. There's one who has maybe the financial mind, but then you have to have that creative mind. You know, you have to, I think if more interest was put into that, then the film funds would see more success.
So the combination is required.
It's the combination, because they're very different mindsets. Yeah. You know, the mind of a director and a writer, that's, you need to team up with people who you say, okay, I really believe in the kind of films they're going to make. Or then you meet someone, you know, whoever you're teaming up with, maybe a production house, and you say, I'm not too sure about their slate of films. And you would choose to back off there and maybe find someone whose vision you kind of gel with more.
Social media and building a brand through social media versus getting trolled on social media. I know a lot of celebrities got on, some got off because they couldn't quite take the reactions. If there's a control on trolling, do you think it's a big opportunity for youngsters who are aspiring upwards, celebrities, to actually build a perception about themselves, rather than just random, press articles coming which have a bunch of stuff which may be true, not true? And if so, how do you think you would like to build a brand?
I think it's a huge opportunity. I think, yes, there is trolling, and I do think there are certain things that we should be very, very conscious of in terms of the self-esteem and teenagers and kind of younger kids who are very influenced by comments and by the visuals they see on social media. I think we do have to be very, very conscious that it's projecting a self-image, which is not completely true. You don't wake up looking like that perfect selfie. That's just a really good angle with some really good light that you've taken, and you've probably taken 55 pictures to get that one and posted the best one, which is good. I'm saying that's fine. We want to share pretty looking things. But I think in some cases, you're seeing people feel a little bit depressed about their own lives and feeling, it's happened to me. It's happened to me where I'll be in a perfectly fine mood doing something in my day, and I'll, scroll and look at something on Instagram, and all of a sudden I'll see some really happy picture or some really loved up picture, and all of a sudden I'll sink into this little thing, oh, really, my life's not that happy. So you have to, and then I have to think 1 second, things are not, that person may be happy, great, first of all, wish well for them. But this is a curated platform of images we choose to share. So keeping that aside, which I think is really important for for everyone, youngsters or not youngsters, to keep in mind that don't judge yourself from the response you get, and don't judge your self-image by other images you see on the platform. If we leave that aside, I think it can be an extremely invaluable tool to build a brand, to build, whatever your brand may be, whether it's whether it's like Zomato or Scootsie, or there's so many incredible brands which have only come from this, from this platform being available. And on a more personal level, like say for someone like me, who I'm now developing my own beauty line, which is a line of makeup products, because it's something that I felt very passionate about, because I've spent 2 or 3 hours every day for the last many years in makeup. So you have had the chance to see every type of product and every type of consistency. And so because I have so much experience with it, it was something which I was really passionate to team up with someone who I believe to be the market leader in that department. And this is something which we are going to, speak about our interest, what the brand is for us, what the product is for us, really primarily through, through social media. It's going to be a huge part of our conversation. So I do think that if used right, social media on its various platforms are really invaluable to business startups.
So you want young people to spend money on makeup?
Well, I don't want people to spend money on things they don't need, but if something, I think I think all women like to look good,
yes.
And even if it's just a few products, like I don't think, unless you're on TV, because everyone gets the lights kind of bleach out your, they make you look fairer, so you need to kind of add definition to your features. But even if you're just, even if you just are not a huge, applier of makeup, there's always that 1 or 2 little products that we always keep with us, somewhere.
Men also like to look nice. It's not just
men,
women.
yes. And I'm sure I do hope to have some excellent men grooming products in my line.
In terms of product endorsement, I know you've done endorsement of many, many products and services, and you're very popular with companies to help them with their sales. And the law got changed after the Maggie noodles episode. So now there's a responsibility cast upon the artist also, or the celebrity. On the other hand, there isn't really any control being put in terms of how people talk about you in the press, etc. And I know that some actors, more than you, attract scandal. Every few days something comes up and it becomes a huge, big issue. Do you think there's some balance required that, yes, I am responsible for product endorsement, but also you be responsible as to how you write about me? Or should it be a free world and let them write what they want?
I don't feel there's too much connection between the two. I do believe, funny enough, I've actually said this long before this whole Maggie in these various incidents happened. I always said that I do take a big interest in what are you promising.
Right.
And I don't think it's fair for a artist or any person to accept money for an endorsement fee and say, oh, I'll just say anything. It's not my responsibility, it's the brand's responsibility. I do feel that we all have a huge sense of responsibility to the product. So we take all methods and we go to great levels to try and see the value of the product, the authenticity of the claims, that of what it does, etc., the safety and so on. So I think that you have a huge responsibility as an endorser. In terms of do the media, you're talking about the media, right? In terms of do the media, should they be more careful about what they write? I mean, this is like what? This is like an age-old conversation, right? This has been happening for, I don't know how many years, so.
Sure.
Oh. Talking about brand endorsement, that might have something to do with it. Oh, okay, sorry. I don't know. To be very honest, I've had a pretty peaceful relationship with the media in my career so far. I think I've been fortunate. Apart from one kind of major, verbal argument that I had, I've been pretty peaceful. There are people who are very, very vocal about a lot of topics, and I think those are the people that attract more of the.
They invite problems.
The controversy, you say.
Yes.
In terms of what I feel about that, I just feel if you know what you're saying and you have full information about the topic you're speaking on, please speak. In my case, or in anyone's case, I try to make sure I just have all the information before I give an opinion.
So you're more responsible. In terms of influencing minds, endorsement, I think, is a good example as to why people buy products, because they're attracted to the celebrity, they are fans, etc. It also gives an opportunity to people in your position and your industry, the cricketers, the big film stars, to actually influence opinions positively. And it could be social issues, it could be community issues, it could be peace, simple things like that. And do you believe that there's a need for people in the industry to actually cooperate and do this, or it's just individual efforts as happens just now? That should be enough.
I think when you're inside the industry, I think a lot of times we undervalue how much your voice can bring attention to topics and to issues that really matter. I know I do. There's many times that you'll get a request to speak for, say, X charitable event, and you maybe don't have the time or whatever, but that person who actually is dedicating their whole life to one event, maybe it's, say, helping school underprivileged kids, whatever it may be, they're probably, in most cases, spending all their time and effort on this one topic, probably, spending a lot of time, facing closed doors. And if you, as a well-known face, can give attention to that topic by really honestly doing nothing, except, maybe sometimes saying a few lines, recording a bite to camera, showing up for an event.
Yeah.
I just feel that I can't say it's your duty, but I feel that it's really something that we all should try and do. And I know for my part, I don't get that many requests, maybe because people feel that it's hard to reach out, but the ones that I have, I've always, first I do all my research, I see the authenticity of them. And like the one I recently kind of started supporting is an NGO called Educate Girls. Mm-hmm. And they're doing such amazing work. Like when you see them, you really honestly feel kind of humbled, and you feel lucky that someone like that kind of needs or wants your involvement in that project. And I actually kind of wish that we had more people who would reach out, because I'm sure there's so many people who are doing fantastic work, very frankly seen, especially where we live, in this, in our country, there's a lot of people who, there's a lot of issues that need attention. And I do kind of wish actually people would ask or contact us more for when they need help, or when they need, to garner awareness for an attention.
No, I understand that's the individual charity contribution, but I'm saying as an industry, do you think there are causes that would make sense for you to come together? It could be, just throwing out an example, Swachh Bharat, a simple example. It could be community welfare as a concept, not as
You mean
an
as
individual.
the film industry on a
Correct.
whole?
Because I think my own sense, I remember when my kids were growing up, if teacher said something or a celebrity said something, it had far more value to them than parents saying something. It's a fact. And I remember when my kids were growing up, for example, fireworks during Diwali have really dropped compared to what it used to be. And it's a question of child labor, it's a question of pollution, it's a question of noise pollution, a whole bunch of things that actually get affected. That's an example, like I said. But I've not seen something other than anti-piracy. And anti-piracy also is, I think, the individual producer who pops up when his film is being released and then goes down again. So that's something you think it's worth encouraging or trying to get people to come together for, or it's too big a cause and it's not worth it?
No, I think absolutely it's something. You always need that one passionate person to spearhead that movement or to start that initiative. I know I've heard, friends of mine discussing the possibility of so many of the people who work in the film industry, so who work behind the scenes, who work in the lighting department, who work in the rigging department, who work as spot boys, assistants, etc., kind of a place where they can come if they need financial or medical help, because you do see that a lot. You'll see that one person who will come and kind of be waiting somewhere on the set.
Yeah.
And you'll realize, you recognize that person, and maybe they were the second, lighting rigger on the film set, and they're in need, or they need some financial aid, or for, some maybe medical emergency. So I have heard that, I think it's a wonderful idea to start something like that where people can come and, if they have been part of the film industry, ask and apply for financial benefit.
Again, coming to social messaging, if not coming together, but even social messaging. I'm seeing, I don't know if you saw that film that got released recently on forgiveness, Rubaru. You
No,
didn't?
I missed that.
Okay, I saw it.
A film on forgiveness.
Yeah, so.
They should all see that film immediately.
It's
Please, everyone, go and see it.
It's
Very important thing to learn in life.
Yeah, it's quite interesting. So Amir Khan released it.
Yeah, I heard about it. Of course, I didn't know what it was about.
So I happened to see it some time ago when it was sort of being made. But it's basically
How is it?
So it's 3 true stories on major acts of forgiveness by people who have realized that their hatred was misplaced. Hatred was actually misplaced. And they're all true stories. And they're no actors. They're actually the people, the families, the actual people who have, been the hated and the hater, so to speak, who's come together. But because most films, and I fully understand that most films are made to make money, and, I'm all for it. But elements of social messaging that come into films, is that something you feel not across the board, but something that helps, or you think people just take it as entertainment and move on?
I think there's a balance which one should try and strike. There may be a topic which you feel really passionately about, and you may have a beautiful way to connect it to a story. And if that's the case, then definitely I think that's always something which is wonderful. It gives a film more soul, and any film which has a soul is going to be more watchable. I don't know if if I would say yes, one must always strive to do that in every film, but I think maybe in the back, somewhere subconsciously, somewhere we should be conscious of the fact that you do have a certain effect on society with what you put in the films. You do see things become very popular or not popular because of the way a film has portrayed it. Yeah. So I think you do have to be a little bit careful about what you do put in the films. I mean, yes, there's a certain disclaimer that this is entertainment, but maybe one should be a little bit cautious that, there's nothing which is maybe extremely harmful to one's, peace of mind or thought process.
We see a lot of shows now on television encouraging dancing, singing, and several judging those shows to try and get more talent to come up, and then maybe nurture the talent and get them really part of the industry. Do you think much more can now be done because of not only TV, but YouTube and platforms like that where promotion can be done effectively? Or it's still mainly television audiences that are going to be doing that?
Promotion for?
Promotion for films, for example, youngsters wanting to I think there are programs for singing, dancing.
Like the dance shows, the singing shows for new talent.
Correct. For people to showcase their talent.
I think there's a huge scope for that now because the kind of popularity that I see when we go to these shows to promote our films, whether it's a dance plus or a singing show, you see that everyone knows. There's so many people who are watching these shows at home. They know who these girls are. They know who these young boys and girls are, and these boys and girls are finding that fame and finding that recognition for their talent because of these platforms. The thing with YouTube, oftentimes when I go to these shows, I talk to them and I ask them, because you'll see some phenomenal talent of like some incredible acrobats or some incredible dancers. And I'll ask them that, where have you learned this? Like, how have you learned these things? And most of them, honestly, nowadays say they've learned from YouTube.
Wow.
Which is quite fascinating because, I mean, that's also the power. We've talked about the downside of the internet, but that's also the power that, something like YouTube is giving to kids who don't have access to this kind of training or this kind of schooling and where they live. They learn it from YouTube.
So going back to my first point, being a high-risk industry for everybody in it, and yesterday we were discussing a job security. So a person knows he's going to get a salary at the end of the month versus someone in your profession, which is I may be a celebrity one day, something may go wrong one day, there's no daily wage, so to speak, I need to keep looking for work all the time. Any thoughts for our audience? Because this audience really is more on the job creation side rather than job creation rather than job seeking.
I think that it's harder in the short term, but it's always better in the long term. And if you can just hold out and have that patience to create what you're trying to create, believe in whatever your vision is. I don't know what everyone particular is, is exactly what field is a field of interest. But if you can be specific about why and what it is that is different, that differentiates you from everything else and your competitors that's out there in the market already, I think that's probably an extremely important thing. And then I just feel you have to have that guts, that you have to have that courage to hold on. Not like you said, okay, you're getting a salary here, not maybe, kind of just take the easy road and take the quicker road for maybe financial security. It's something which, it's a decision which we've also been faced, and I know a lot of actors are faced with that decision where you take the money for an endorsement of a brand, there's a certain fee, or then you sit and you wait and you may not be earning in the year or two that you're creating your own brand, but you're creating something that if it works, it's something you own forever, and it's something that can outlive the job you do. So whatever your career is, if you build a successful brand, that can long outlive your own career life, whatever that may be, your, the years go by for everyone. So if you can manage to do that, I think you just have to have that holding power. You know in Braveheart where Mel Gibson is telling the troops with the spears and they're charging at him with the horses and he's like, hold, like don't just give in and say, forget it, it's not working, let me just take that job. I think you just have to face your belief, spend 5 minutes a day, like visualizing your belief, visualizing what it is that you want to create, and like hold on to that thought, protect it in a bubble, and just stay with it.
Okay, last question. These TV shows that go on and on and on in the United States, some in India as well. From a job security point of view, on the same lines, do you think that makes more sense to aspiring actors rather than waiting for the big break in a film, or should they just keep waiting for a big break, or it's a combination of the two?
You're talking about TV series.
Yeah, which sort of, seem to go on.
So like you have like a Modern Family, which is in like season 22,
yes,
something like that.
Or Friends.
I think it's up to you. I think it's if you find a character which you really love in TV, which a character you can live with for longer throughout the seasons, throughout the episodes, there's a lot of joy in that as well, because you get to live with that, you get to create more. It's not just, you don't have that much time to show it. But I don't think that's like, there's not like a hard and fast rule that, no, don't wait for your big break in films, do it in TV. I think you should, acting and finding work when you're starting out, there's always that rough period where, for some people, they hit the jackpot in their first go. For other people, it is a bit of a waiting game. And again, like we just said, you have to have the courage and the patience to believe in yourself and wait wait for something good. And make sure that it's really what you want to do. Like, just be sure that that's what you want to do. You want to be in movies. You want to be an actor.
And you love what you do.
I love what I do, absolutely. And the best thing I think about it is that as the time has been going by, I feel that with each film I'm doing now, I'm kind of finding a deeper love and a deeper interest in kind of the whole process of performing in films and characters, and maybe just I have more of the mind space now to kind of learn more about it. So it's to be able to be in any industry or in any business that you love and you love what you do, that to me is the most important thing. To just hold on to that and not the financial aspect of it.
I think that's the basic message. If
Yeah.
you love something, do it. You
Yeah.
do it really well.
Thank you.
Kumar, you have any questions? Okay.
None.
No, I'd
Nothing.
actually asked him to collect them from the audience if they wanted to message any, but the network is not so great.
Sir has a question. Sorry, I don't know. Are you asking questions?
No, we were trying to collect them all and then
Ah.
get them from one person instead of running around the room. We'll just take a couple of questions and then we'll...
Hi. So you have been a model, say, early, and then you moved to the acting side, and by all the due respect that you have been phenomenal career till now as an actress, but I just want to know your views on what do you think about acting as a skill? Is it a talent that you come inborn, or is it a virtue that you can work upon and nurture as a skill, and you can actually build upon a career on that?
I think it's exactly you said both the sides, and I think both the sides are equally as relevant. There's some people I know who are just, they can go to sleep, they wake up, and they just are gifted. There's no other way to describe it as they are gifted at what they do. Some of those people will not be the well-known actors who you may know and love. It's a very, very tricky industry. That's what, I mean, art is objective, it's objective. There is no rule book, on how to act and how to create yourself as an actor. There are some people who just have it, who it comes very easy to them. And there are some people who work really, really hard at it. Really hard. Like, let me tell you, I'm sure I hope he won't mind me sharing this with you. But we were having a discussion once with Amir, and he actually told me that, I mean, after so many years that he has an experience, he takes almost a month to go through his whole script, to just do the first pass of learning his lines. That's a lot of time invested into it. So I think it's up to the individual. I've seen many, many people also gradually grow and adapt and find their voice in their craft. And to me, I think that that's really, really special if you can do that. If you can keep evolving, if you can keep learning. My answer to that is, if you want to learn something, search out the people who you think know more than you. Spend time with them, sit with them, get them to teach you, whatever your industry is. If you're an actor, then the coaches, different voice coaches, performance coaches. Spend time with them. Never stop the search of learning.
Hi, Katrina.
I have a question.
One second, Pradeep.
So, Katrina, I've always been amazed how, you succeeded in this industry coming from outside and really fighting your way through the top. Interested, a lot of entrepreneurs have been inspired by that. So, what characteristics do you admire in a person, and who's your role model?
Role model. I wouldn't say, honestly, very frankly, that I don't have a particular role model. I really look up to a lot of women right now, if I can speak for where I am today. I really look up to a lot of women who aren't becoming slaves to a certain norm that either your profession or society dictates to you. There are many people who follow a certain path, and then there are some people who, for some choice, maybe it's not even their own personal choices, they are following a slightly different path. But if you can not feel the pressure of what is dictated by society, that you should be doing this at this point and this at this point, and try and just kind of see where you are in your work, see where you are in your career, and what it is that you want to do for yourself, what it is that you want to build for yourself. I think for me that has been something that I've really admired. Recently, I'm just going to take a small detour. I watched a film which released, I think recently, called A Private War. So this film is a film which the actress, it's an English film, the actress Rosamund Pike, she's nominated for Best Performance in the Oscars this year. And when I got to the end of the film, I realized that the film was produced by another actress called Charlize Theron. And I found that so interesting because probably age-wise, looks-wise, physicality, they're probably very similar. It's not like she could not have played it. But I found it interesting that she had produced that for another actor. It's things like that, I think, that right now I find a little bit inspiring for me in the place that I am, because there are many, many people who come and tell me that, you know, an actress's shelf life is so much, and after a certain age of being on, you know, on screen, then this is what happens, and that's what happens. And he's laughing. And I say that, why does anyone have to follow any preconceived path? And if that's what happened before, it doesn't mean that that's what's going to happen now. I think that we don't have to be confined to a certain stereotype. And I think that if you are passionate about what you do and you love what you do, I don't think there's a shelf life for it.
Hi.
Actresses.
Hi, Katrina.
I don't think anyone comes to Amitji and says, you know, there's a shelf life for guys out there, but let me tell you that people, every week I hear this statement at least once. You know, something, 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 and there's always, of course, a shelf life for actresses. And every time I hear that statement, I feel like, yes, but you know, history is not always a repeat of the past. There's always ways to change the game. There's always ways to keep getting out there. Thank you.
Hi.
And you have to be careful with that, because let me tell you that it's also very easy for you to sink into that belief, because the people who are telling you this, more often than not, are people with experience in the industry, from the industry, who are talking out of, you know, past actual incidences, or past what the past tells us. So you have to be very careful that you don't start believing that yourself, because if you start believing that, then it's true.
Hi,
So here
Katrina.
we have lot of entrepreneurs, and Katrina, they would want to understand you are a very successful person. So what are the personal qualities that you have that have made you successful? Now we all know you are a very hardworking person. So what are the qualities you would mention? Because that would be a message to the entrepreneurs here as key to success.
I think there's just a few things. I'll try and keep it simple and what I really feel is helpful. Thank you. I think one is that you have to hold on to what it is that you want to create. I'm not saying let's sit here and start visualizing and you know, without doing the work. I'm saying very, very in a literal matter of speaking. I think you have to have a certain amount of thick skin to what people say. Everything that is said is not true. Everything that is said to you does not make it so. There's so many times where, you know, I mean, it's been told to me a million times that when I first started out, when I was 17, that you cannot be an actress here. You cannot do this, you cannot do that. You're too this, you're too that. You're too big, you're too small, you're too this. I think everyone faces that in the industry. If you're starting out, maybe you have an idea for, I don't know, let's just for argument's sake say a food delivery service. And someone comes and tells you, but there's already this person in the market, there's already that person in the market, leave it, why do you need to do it? The naysayers and the arguments against whatever it is that you want to do are always so many. I think you have to develop a thick skin if you're trying to build something for yourself in any industry. So if you are not an employee, like Anand sir said, if you're not an employee or getting that paycheck at the end of every month, that means you're a creator. And if you're a creator, then you have to create from a strong base sure, I'm not saying we're all robots like that. Feel everything, feel everything, feel that fear that fear of failure, feel all that, insecurity and that self-doubt that you feel when you're trying to start something new, but just don't let that stop you. I think for me, that was the best advice which I read. I can't remember now where I read it, but when I read that, success is not that the successful people are not the people who go into battle fearless. They're the people who feel the fear and still go into the battle.
Well,
Katrina,
thank you. That was really
hi.
nice.
Anand is getting ready to send me out. He's like, bas, ho gaya, huh? Bas.
I have one question, Katrina, to you. You look as pretty as ever, and congratulations
you.
for launching the new product line.
Thank you.
As an entrepreneur, I'm sure we would have faced some problems. So generally in India, women entrepreneurs are funded, if you say access to finance is just 10% or less than that. So whether you have faced any difficulties, I know you are a brand yourself, obviously, but do you think that if some a woman entrepreneur starts his business, what all difficulties will it face? And secondly, whether as a woman brand itself, would you like to be associated with something which is helping women entrepreneurs to grow, which in turn will lead to women empowerment?
Well, I'll start with the last part of your question first. Would I like to be associated with something which helps women we're starting out like this in this field? Absolutely. That's something exactly the kind of thing that I was speaking about, that I would very much like to be a part of things like that. And I really hope, and I do hope that people, if there are any, setups like that, I do hope they do reach out, reach out to us via our managers and put that proposal forward, because I do feel that we have, personally speaking, I have a certain number of years, and I've seen many various sides of industry, and I would love to be able to help or share that experience with anyone who wishes to hear or wishes to know. In terms of what you're saying about, do you face extra obstacles because you're a woman? If I may say so, and if I can give my opinion, the answer I feel is still in today's changing environment, yes, you do. Even as you very kindly said, someone who may be well known like me, I can still see it when I say that, this is what I want to start. I want to start X company or this venture or that venture. There's always that kind of sense of, that's nice. Aur kya? Batao? It's slightly, the word I would look for is patronizing. I think that is the sense one gets. So my only advice or thing I could share with you is just let that move through you. Don't take that personally, or don't take it to heart, or don't let it shake you. Just be extra strong on what it is that you're saying, or what it is that you're selling, what your messaging is, what your communication is. Spend extra hours developing your product or your application or your app. Put that focus and that irritation, put that energy into developing whatever it is you're trying to do, and make sure that it's so good that whether they like you, they don't care whether you're a man or a woman, they need what you have.
Good answer.
Can you memorize a scene or an event in your professional career that still has got a deep-rooted influence in your mind?
I'm sorry, can you just repeat that once more?
Can you memorize a scene or an event which you can share with us, which still, in your professional career, which still has got a deep-rooted influence in your mind?
Any particular event that has a deep-rooted influence on you?
Trying to think of one particular example that would have a deep, yes, there is one. I wish it was like a very cheery story, but it's not. Can I give you two? There are two. First one was, I was on a beach. I was doing a song sequence in a movie, and the choreographer was saying very loudly and very audibly that this girl is zero, she cannot dance, she is just like messing with my mind, he's getting very irritated. And I remember thinking, he's saying it loud enough that I can hear, which means he wants me to hear. I was, I think, 17 at the time. I remember feeling bad, but I also remember at that time thinking, okay, If I can't dance, according to him, that's fine. I'll work on that in the future. And then just sitting like that. I didn't make any attempt to contradict him or conflict him, but I just kind of, I think from then, kind of developed this thing in my head that if someone is criticizing you, I'll put extra work in that department if I feel that criticism is warranted. I'll put extra work, and I won't take that criticism to my heart and hold it against you. I think that was one incident which for me was memorable. The other incident was, again, something fairly similar, where I was sitting with a producer, and he was basically explaining to me that not only did he not think that I was good in my movies, but that I was not good even in a single shot, like a single frame of my movies. And I remember I started crying because I felt really bad, but I didn't move. I didn't move from there. And I didn't move with like a sense of poor me. I was like, okay, I'm going to hear this because this is a leader in the field. And then, you know, it's that kind of developing that way of not taking things personally and taking it like, oh, taking it bitterly or something. I've always tried to take whatever people say constructively and not be overwhelmed by it and not let it stop me and let it just, you know, just keep moving forward, not let it break my confidence. Hear it. If you need to feel bad about it, but keep going forward. That's the only thing. Anand sir is now पीछे से ही saying, चलो, out. Okay? हो गया आपका time. चलो, out. It's up to you.
One last question.
Yeah. Any?
Well, one in the middle I can see.
Hello. Check.
Lady there as
She's
well.
a smart one. She's a smart one.
Hello. Yeah.
I can hear. One second. Yeah.
Yeah. Hello. Well, hi everyone. Hello, ma'am. Like me being, the girls are usually conscious about the beauty, and there are many people, and you, an actress like you, who, endorse beauty products. So my question to you is, I mean, how subjective the beauty can be for you? I mean, is it just being fair and being good looking according to the standardized way, or is it more about, just being happy about whatever the color is, whatever the texture of our skin is? I mean, because we just go through brands, like so many advertisements, this fairness cream, that cream, and whatnot. So don't you think like beauty is really subjective, and it's important to first feel good about you and not belittle yourself about the same? Yeah.
I think you said it that absolutely beautifully. I don't think you can say it any better than that. Beauty is subjective. Beauty is about what you feel about yourself inside. Let me tell you that this whole trap, which is about what I said a little bit earlier to Anand sir, about this imaging, which is starting to be portrayed on, and a little bit maybe in an unnecessary balance on Instagram, of this is beauty. And this is beauty, and this is how beauty looks, and this is how beauty looks.
Yes, absolutely.
There is no one way that beauty looks according to me. Whether you are dusky, whether you are fair, whether you are voluptuous, whether you are skinny, there is no ideal form of beauty. I really, really believe that, and no one should ever be able to tell you otherwise. Being beautiful, and let me tell you, I interact with, and I've got a chance to meet some of the most perceived beautiful women in the world, from my personal, beauty icons when I was young to, our own amazing actresses here. Physical beauty is when that person is confident inside, and you get a sense that this person knows who they are and values who they are and doesn't need outside validation. When I meet a woman or a man, or actually any person, who I get a sense this person doesn't need validation from anyone. Not from me, not from him, not from anyone. He's confident in his own skin, in his own self. That person to me is the most attractive. That person to me is the most beautiful. Physical beauty, it comes and it goes, and it's never what it seems, Like, there was a time where, for me, I was really uncomfortable with the way I looked. I really did not think I was looking nice. I was not happy, and I was chasing some image in my mind. And then that's when I also kind of came to that own assumption, for myself, that we are who we are. Someone up there has put a lot of time and effort into making us who we are, and we don't need to seek validation from anyone, not from your work, not from your peers, not from the internet, not from some image of beauty which someone else has. You don't just believe in who you are, feel who you are, and don't let anyone ever tell you that you do or do not look nice. Beauty comes from within, from your confidence.
Hi, Katrina. I have a last question to ask. I wonder who told you that you're not a good dancer. You're exotic in Chikni Chameli. And so how have you evolved? How have you trained yourself? And how important is training for a professional artist? If you could put some light on it.
Sorry, can I just ask, are you speaking about professional artists in...
Artist as an actor, how good one should put your energies to train yourself in dancing or music to, evolve as an actor. How have been your training?
I think that when it comes to formal training in any field, whatever your profession is, even if it's you decide for whatever reason to do that formal training alongside with the steps you're taking in that profession, that's fine. I'm not a big advocate of saying first sit and train for 3 years, lock yourself in a theater school, don't go anywhere, don't audition. That's one way of doing it. That's also superb. But I would probably advocate more the way of saying, get out there and expose yourself in the industry that you want to be in. So if it's, say, acting or singing or dancing, which is in the entertainment industry, expose yourself. Be around people who are successful in that industry. Watch how they perform. There's a big difference between textbook knowledge and actual, live performing knowledge. Try to walk the line of both of them. So try and get as much experience yourself in performing in whatever department it is. Try and also spend a lot of your time, if you can have access to good coaches, theater workshops, acting, performing coaches. I would always try and walk the line and do both at the same time. But keep your footsteps on, and trying to also get practical experience and knowledge as well.
Thank you.
Now Anand sir is going to pick me up and throw me out.
Thank you so much, Katrina.
Lovely talking to everyone. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing.